What is an earnest money deposit? Home buyers who want to buy a house in Maryland may not always need a down payment when they hope to get a loan. However, what buyers often don't know is that they will need cash to use for an earnest money deposit. Who the heck is Ernest, and why do home buyers need to give him money? Don't go away, because that's what we're going to talk about today. You're going to get the answers to the 7 most frequently asked questions. Hi, I'm Melissa Spittel, the local real estate expert serving Carroll County and the surrounding areas in Maryland. An earnest money deposit is also known as good faith money, and it's included in an offer to buy a house. It's the monetary value of damages in the event the buyers or sellers breach the contract. In other words, should home buyers fail to hold up their end of the bargain, the seller may be able to keep the amount of the earnest money deposit. If the sellers breach the contract, however, the buyers may be able to get it back. Question number 1, is earnest money required in Maryland? Technically, earnest money in Maryland is not required by law. However, it's an initial deposit that is customarily submitted with an offer to purchase a house. The amount of the earnest money deposit is part of the contract of sale to purchase a home in Maryland. Home sellers expect the buyer to make that initial deposit as proof that the buyer is serious about buying the property. It's like a security deposit or putting a house on layaway until the loan is approved. Question number 2, what is earnest money used for? This deposit takes its name from its purpose. It shows the sellers that the buyers are earnest about following through with the transaction to purchase their house. The buyers are, in essence, putting some skin in the game. Question number 3, what happens if a buyer does not deposit earnest money? Quite honestly, a buyer in Maryland who does not deposit earnest money has very little chance of having their offer even accepted. This is because sellers want to know that buyers are serious and willing to make that initial deposit. Question 4, who gets the earnest money? In Maryland, earnest money is deposited into a non-interest-bearing account. It is not deposited into an account that belongs to the seller. Instead, earnest money is deposited into a third-party account that is managed by either a title company or a real estate brokerage. In most home sale transactions in Maryland, the buyer is able to choose whether the title company or the buyer's agent brokerage deposits that earnest money. Occasionally, the seller's agent's brokerage will prefer to deposit it instead. Question number 5, what is a reasonable amount for an earnest money deposit in Maryland? The amount of earnest money a buyer needs to deposit will vary by the area, the purchase price, and also by what a homeowner might require. 1% of the purchase price is standard in some areas in Maryland. In other areas, the earnest money deposit may be $500 or $1,000. Typically, the higher the price of a house, the higher the amount of the earnest money deposit. Question number 6, can you lose the earnest money deposit? Every real estate contract is different. It is important for both the buyers and the sellers to follow the terms of the contract so the earnest money doesn't have to be forfeited. If buyers default on the terms of the contract, yes, they stand to lose their earnest money deposit. Likewise, if the sellers default, the buyers may be entitled to have that earnest money returned to them. Question number 7, how can you make sure your earnest money is protected? When buying a property in Maryland, be sure to hire a buyer's agent who will best represent you and your money, and will also make sure the terms of the contract are upheld. And, by the way, there is no charge to hire a buyer's agent in Maryland. Here's the bottom line. Maryland buyer's agents best know the areas in which they work and are able to counsel their clients in the amount of earnest money deposit they should make when buying a house in Maryland. Like many aspects of a purchase agreement, the amount of earnest money to deposit is negotiable. So, whether you are the buyer or the seller, hire a knowledgeable real estate agent who can counsel you wisely. If you like this video, be sure to hit that bell and subscribe to this channel so you'll be notified when my next video is published. If you're thinking about buying a house, comment below and be sure to download the free Ultimate Home Buyer's Guide. You'll find the link to it in the description box below.